Hey everybody, it's Dusti Martin at Corcoran Platinum Living. So things escalated quickly since the last time I did one of those live videos. So literally 2 weeks ago, we heard that Zillow was going to stop their iBuyer program and not buy any more houses for the remainder of 2021. And then I put that video on YouTube. It went live Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. And I kid you not, 2 hours later, Zillow was in the news about shuttering their entire iBuyer program, which I did mention in that other video was operating at a loss both when they started out and likely had lots of overhead and has continued to operate at a loss for quite a bit. And so I think the news was that they lost somewhere around $500 million in the last quarter. And I don't know about anybody else, but if I was an investor and you lost $550 million of my dollars, I'd be pissed. So I'd be firing that person. So they decided to shutter their iBuyer program, which some people were like, oh, I knew it. It's horrible. Well, it's mostly their model. They had way too much overhead. The average investor here in the Valley only makes about $8,000 to $10,000 on each flip. And so when you have that slim of a margin, you really, really, really need to know your numbers, and you've got to have a local person on the ground and a contractor that's really dialed in, and you've got to have an agent that really knows the market, knows the neighborhood, knows what it is they're looking for, how much it's going to cost them, how much they're going to spend, and then what the real ARV or basically the value after repairs. You really want to know what that's going to be down to the penny. And so when I was flipping, I knew that if I could not make 7 or 8% on the purchase, I was just not going to do it. So you've got to have that really dialed in if you're going to flip homes. And I think what people forget is that the iBuyer programs, and it doesn't matter if it's Open Door, OfferPad, Zillow, whatever, they are there to flip your home. And so you have to ask yourself, where are they making money? If they are really giving me top dollar for my home, then how are they making money? Because the whole point of a flip is to add no value or as little as possible, spend as little as possible, buy the home for an off-market price and turn around and sell it at a profit. So if they can't get that, and like I said, most flips have a very slim margin, and Zillow was losing, I think they were estimating because of all their overhead costs, because of their employees and the wages they had to pay, their payroll, they were losing, in some estimates, up to $100,000 or more on each home. Well, when each home in a normal market in our area would only make $8,000 to $10,000, that's a huge loss because you're hiring too many unnecessary people in the process. A couple of things that came out is Zillow's decision to sell those homes to an investor called BlackRock, which is going to, in large part, likely rent those homes. Now, some of you guys saw my Facebook Live, I want to say it was probably a week ago, talking about if you should sell your home right now and talking about the different scenarios and situations if you have a home and what you need to be looking for in terms of investment. Because I said these big investment firms are going to come in and start buying properties, not to flip, but to buy and hold and rent. So you as a homeowner or someone, if you need to make a shift or if you're trying to make a long-term real estate investment play, is to buy as many doors as possible and turn them into rentals, not only to hedge against inflation, but also to have that residual monthly income from the rental fees, if you will, from your renters. With that said, that's exactly what's going to happen with probably a good chunk of Zillow's portfolio of homes they already sell, mostly because they're trying to sell them overpriced. And I've talked about this before. A lot of the iBuyers, when I go and I take my clients through to see them, and I happen to work certain neighborhoods more often than not. And a lot of times I end up bringing multiple clients to the same house. And a lot of times they are just sitting there, and it doesn't matter if it's Open Door, OfferPad, Zillow, Homey, whatever, a lot of times they just sit and sit and sit. And it's because they bought at a higher price and they're waiting for them to mature based on where they think the market is going. But when your business model doesn't account for holding on to a property for several months and the overhead that goes with that, you're going to lose a lot of money. So, this video is kind of like a stopgap, yeah, they canceled it all outright. But with that being said, I would not think, if I were anyone right now, that Zillow will be completely done with that part of the industry. I think they'll be back. I think they may try to retool their business model. Or the other thing I think they might do, and this kind of seems to be part of their MO in acquiring different parts of the industry and moving into different parts of the space. I think they may even try to purchase another company that's already doing well or could be doing better, to see if they can't make that work, because their goal, I think, is to have a one-stop shop from the minute you get on their website to look for a home, to shop for a mortgage, to have a title company, to sell the home that you're in. I think they want to make sure that they are able to control the entire process from start to finish. But I think that's probably where they're going. Like I said in my last video, I think they are going to regroup. I think they will be back. I would say 7 to 9 months. I'm hearing some rumblings of people who supposedly work there, saying that these homes are going to be doled out and dispersed over several months instead of all at once. And with where the market's going, they will probably not lose as much money as they're saying. Also, remember that the homes that were in Arizona, yes, we are a disclosure state. So when a home sells, the county, time to buy Zillow, so yeah, it went down a lot, like 30% or something crazy. So yeah, it's on sale. If you're into the stock market, I don't know, I'm not a financial advisor or anything like that, but it might be time, buy low, sell high, right? But I think we are going to see some regroupings. And I think when you think about it, in Arizona, we're a disclosure state. So when you buy or sell a home, what you paid, the first page of the contract has the full purchase price on the first page. That amount and who bought it and who sold it get recorded with the county. What does not get recorded is whatever concessions or repairs or whatever the seller gave to the buyer or vice versa. In a lot of these iBuyer scenarios, yes, they offered $400,000 for a house, but then they charged 15% in fees or repairs that supposedly needed to be done to these houses. And so in a lot of scenarios, it looks like they paid $400,000, but a lot of them, they charged 15% in some cases, or 18. I've seen as high as 19 here in the Valley, anywhere from 11 to 19%. So let's say 15, let's pick one in the middle. And we know that doesn't get recorded, right? So 15% of $400,000 is about what, 60 grand? So if you take that 60 grand and subtract it from that 400,000, you're really at 340 that seller walked away with. That's not what's on the tax record. So even if they reduce that price to say 390 or 380, they're still making money. So keep that in mind. So they might be selling to this investor, and it might, in some areas, when you go and look online or in the MLS, it would be they paid $400 for this house, but they're selling it for $390. They're taking a hit. Not exactly. And so they're not going to be losing as much money as people think. So you'll have to make sure you're paying attention to their actual earnings, not what homes were supposedly bought for, but selling for. Does that make sense? Hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, go ahead and give me a call at 480-717-9405 or visit my website at dustimartinrealtor.com. Next week's Tuesday video is going to cover, if you didn't see my live a couple weeks ago about whether or not you should be selling a home, you need to see that one that's coming out 7 a.m. Tuesday next week. Anyway, have a great day. Bye.